Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back with another video. Since I was gone so long, I figured I would do a Blu-ray update. I basically put together, my most recent Blu-ray purchases. So, these go over the span of a few months. I'm sure I missed a bunch in between. I was kind of just looking through my collection a bit and looking for things that I know I've gotten in the last few months or so. I used to do a lot of Blu-ray updates in the past. Haven't done one yet since returning to YouTube, so I figured I would just do a quick one today. I'll be going through all of these fairly quickly, and then we can discuss them in the comments. So first up, we have Bates Motel, the complete series on Blu-ray. I got this as a Christmas gift. I heard great things about it. Been wanting to watch it for a long time. I tend to not like to want to watch TV shows when they're actually airing, when they're still going on, just because I like to watch things at my own pace. So glad that the series is over now, so that way I can watch it from beginning to end without having to wait week to week to see what happens next. So Bates Motel, the complete series. Also got Hellraiser, the Scarlet Box. This is the Region A release. I do have the Region B release, but I have yet to get a region-free Blu-ray player, so haven't really been able to watch that set. Glad to have it in Region A. Been wanting this one for a while. This is a fantastic set. I absolutely love it. I did open up my Region B set so I can see, what the insides look like and all that. And I'll definitely be opening this one up when I plan on watching it. But I love the Hellraiser series, especially the first 3 films, and this is just a fantastic set. Closing off the box sets, we have the Phantasm collection. Now, I decided to go with this set rather than going with the Arrow set. Again, the Arrow set being Region B. I don't have a region-free player, so that kind of made this decision for me. But either way, I hear this set actually has more special features than the Arrow set has. The Arrow set was more about packaging, whereas this one was more about features. So I'm glad to have this because this was a limited edition, which I wasn't even aware of at first. Thing is, with the story with this one is when this first came out, I actually had it in my hand at an FYE, held it, and it was kind of sliced, like across the cases. Someone must have opened the box with a box cutter. So I put it back because, I'm kind of a perfectionist with stuff like that. Of course, before I knew it, the set had gone out of print almost, overnight, it felt. It went out of print fairly quickly, and then I was struggling to find another copy. I had gone back to that FYE, wasn't there, tried all the Best Buys, online sites, they had it, but they had it for, really high prices. So I had kind of given up, and then someone in a Facebook group was actually selling this, got them down to a reasonable price, and bought it. So as you can see, it's still brand new. It was unopened, and I have yet to open it yet. Again, I definitely plan on opening it when I plan on watching the films. Now, moving on from box sets to the individual releases. The next one is a movie that Andrew Balliner recently mentioned to me. So shout out to you, Andrew. What's going on, buddy? He asked if I had seen this movie. I told him that I hadn't yet, but that I did in fact own it. This was actually a gift for my wife for Christmas. She loves Halloween-themed horror films, as do I, so I had to pick this up for her. And that is Tales of Halloween. This is the limited edition Blu-ray DVD bonus features disc and soundtrack CD edition. 4 discs in this one. Pretty cool set. It went out of print pretty quickly. It was only a limited amount made, and it seemed to be a fairly popular title at the time of its release. Now, I've heard mixed reviews on this one. I've heard some people say that it's great. I've heard others say that it was a bit too cheesy, a bit too silly for their liking, but it definitely seems like my cup of tea. As I said, I really love Halloween-themed horror films, and I know I've mentioned that in past videos, so you guys know that. And I also love anthologies, so this definitely seems like a movie I'll enjoy, so I'm glad to have it. Next is a movie that everybody else has probably already seen and probably already has in their collection as well, and that is Cult of Chucky. Now, I picked this up on the day it was released, watched it that night, was pretty excited about it. I have to say that I did enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed Curse of Chucky, which is one of my favorites in the series, but I did enjoy this for what it was. It's definitely a bit different than the rest of them, and I'm curious to see where the series is going to go from here. So, Cult of Chucky. Next is a movie that I got 2 copies of, and I'll tell you why. It's Demon Wind from 1990. Now, I had purchased 2 copies, hoping to get the slipcase because I purchased one, it came without the slipcase. Purchased the second to test my luck. Once again, didn't come with the cool slipcase. However, fortunately, it does have the reversible cover art, as you can see, so I just decided to keep both of them. And it's a great movie. I enjoyed watching this one growing up on VHS. Haven't seen it since the VHS days, but it definitely has that Evil Dead feel to it. And for anybody else who has seen it, you'll definitely be able to see the comparison. Same type of storyline, Great gore in this one. Demon Wind. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Next is another Blu-ray that I'm very excited to have in my collection finally. I got this for Christmas, and that is the Poughkeepsie tapes. Now this is a movie that I've been curious to see for a very long time. I remember being in the theater and seeing the trailer for this movie and being very curious about it. Couldn't wait to check it out, couldn't wait to see it, and then all of a sudden it just disappeared. You know, the release was canceled, I don't know what had happened to it, and it just made me even more curious to see the movie. I know that it was available to stream for a while, but I never got around to watching it. Streaming is really not my thing. You know how I am. I like to watch things on DVD and Blu-ray. So I held out for a DVD or a Blu-ray release, and fortunately, Scream Factory came through and released it as a Blu-ray DVD combo pack. Now, as excited as I was to see this, I still haven't watched it. I'm way behind in my movie watching. There's just so many to get through, but I do plan on watching this one very soon. Next is a classic slasher film from Mario Bava, one of the very first slashers ever made, A Bay of Blood. Great kill scenes in this one, some great gore, and when I saw that it was on Blu-ray, I decided I definitely needed to pick it up. Next is another great slasher film from the 80s, and that is Killer Workout. This is just great cheese right here. Always loved this one. Such a fun film. Had to pick it up on Blu-ray. Following in the slasher trend of this video, Savage Weekend. Slasher movie from the 70s. You know, it's a little bit different. It doesn't have your typical college kids getting killed off one by one. A bit of an older crowd of victims in this one. But it's cool that way. You know, it's different. It kind of follows its own path. It's another one that gets mixed reviews. You know, you got some people who find it pretty boring, and you got other people who really enjoy this one. I've always enjoyed it. I like the mask in this one, and I like the atmosphere as well. Savage Weekend. Next is a movie that actually appeared in my top 20 favorite horror films of all time video. It's a movie that I have on DVD, I have on VHS, and I also have on the 2-disc special edition DVD, but for some reason I've never owned it on Blu-ray. Well, that changed yesterday because I was at Walmart, and there it was in the 788 section, so I had to pick it up. And it is The Lost Boys. Again, got this for $7.88 at Walmart yesterday on Blu-ray. Couldn't pass that up. One of my favorite horror films of all time. Next, the movie that everybody else seems to be very excited about right now, and that is Victor Crowley. Now, I love the Hatchet series. I love what Adam Green does with that series. They're just great modern slasher films. Love the gore effects. Love Kane Hodder as Victor Crowley. And I actually heard that this movie got a standing ovation when it first premiered. So that's pretty cool. Excited to check this one out because, again, I've been hearing great things about it. Finally, the last movie I'll be showing in this video, I watched it today, Happy Death Day. I have to say I was pleasantly surprised with this one. I heard good things, but it wasn't quite what I expected. If you haven't seen it, think of Groundhog Day starring Bill Murray. This is basically Groundhog Day as a horror film. It's about this girl, this college student who wakes up in a dorm, doesn't know what happened the night before, goes on with her day. You know, she's not really the best person in the world as the movie starts. And, you know, on this very first day, it's her birthday when she wakes up that day. You know, she goes through the motions of, you know, going to class and everything else that goes on in her life, only to be killed. However, she wakes up the next morning and is, you know, finds out that she's actually reliving the same day over again. So it's a little confusing to her at first. She kind of thinks it may be a dream, doesn't really know what's going on. And once again, she's murdered, only to once again wake up the next day and have to do it all over again. So basically, she keeps waking up on the day of her death, and she realizes that it's going to keep happening until she can figure out who the killer is and why they're trying to kill her. So, pretty interesting concept for a horror film. It definitely worked. It had some humorous moments in it, but you know, it's very modern, I would say. That's how I would describe it. I guess I'm spoiled because I'm used to watching, you know, 80s and, you know, 70s and 80s slasher films, which I really, really enjoy. And I almost love that sort of 80s cheese and like that 80s, I don't know. There's just something about 80s horror, and I know you guys will understand where I'm coming from as fellow horror fans. You know, I'm not saying this movie wasn't good because it really was, but it was definitely modern and it had a modern feel to it. So, you know, if I had to choose between watching this and watching, you know, a bad 80s slasher, I'd probably choose the bad 80s slasher. But that's just me. So that's it for now, guys. As always, please leave me comments below. If you've seen any of these movies, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.